So again, welcome. And today our theme is creative inspiration. And we are now going to be welcoming Galia Menin. And I've been very fortunate to be working with Galia for a few years now. And I've seen her work evolve and develop over that time. And this particular piece that she's going to talk about today has been in the making for a few years and is really just so beautiful. And I think having some inside information as to the inspiration behind it will give it all the more context. And I'm going to hand straight to Galia to give some introductory comments about the work and the process. And then what we're going to do is Galia has made a 9-minute video, which is, there are no words. It is just the slides of the process paired with the music that inspired this piece. And Galia, I'll hand over to you so you can give everybody a little bit of a background as to the composer and the piece and why, etc.
Okay. Thank you very much, Caitlin, and welcome everybody. I'm very pleased to be presenting this piece, which, as Caitlin said, has been a long time in the making. And it's actually all about music, because music and mosaic for me are just so inextricably linked. They are absolute partners, I think. For me, they are absolute partners. I mean, my background, my family, my parents came from Siberia, from eastern Siberia, and particularly my father's family were very much into classical music. And so that continued in our family, and I absolutely love music. Now, Sally, as you said, you can't imagine life without music, and I couldn't agree more. I couldn't imagine living without music, because it's like a very essence for me. It's the very essence of living. The fabulous feelings and emotions that one gets from listening to music, just amazing. I'm absolutely amazed at how black squiggles on 5 horizontal lines, when played by instruments, can create this feeling of joy or happiness, elation, sadness, nostalgia, all of these things just by playing music. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And actually, a number of notable people have made comments about music. And one of them, Plato, said that music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. And really, I couldn't agree more. Also, my favorite composer, Jean Sibelius, talked about music being a mosaic. And he said that for him, it was as if God had made this mosaic, had thrown all the pieces down to him and said to him, now create something from this. I mean, I think that is just a wonderful thing. And if you listen to his music, what he created is just truly fabulous, truly fabulous. But the piece that I really love Peter Sculthorpe. His music is, for me, I think it's just essentially Australian. It's also quite unnerving, which I think is a really interesting feeling to get from listening to his music. Now, I've got to say, there are people who really can't stand Peter Sculthorpe's music, so I apologize to anyone in advance who doesn't like his music, because this is what's playing during the video. Now, well, it's based on the area Kakadu, and for him, he said it's about the land and the feel of the land. And there are a number of sort of feelings that you get from listening to this. It's, I have made a list here. It's energetic, unsettling. There's also a feeling of the very essence of the land that he is writing the music about. There's a timelessness to this piece of music as well, to the feel of it. A feeling of winding, flowing, and falling. The feeling of sizzling lightning. There is a sound within the piece that really sounds like lightning flashes. Clouds, swirling clouds. And the piece of music, the version of this piece of music that I chose to present has William Barton, who is an absolutely wonderful Indigenous composer, didgeridoo player, and singer. He is chanting at the beginning of it. And it's that fabulous winding, flowing, falling chant that I think is like the essence of this land, just flowing, just flowing. The piece is the first in this series, and it's been in the making for many years. Sort of life conspired to bring sort of any mosaic activity to pretty much a screaming halt. But anyway, now I'm able to just devote myself to creating this piece that I've really wanted to do for a few years. So here's a video. I hope you enjoyed listening to that and watching that.
Absolutely, that was fantastic. It's so lovely to see the different elements of the process as well matched to the music. And I think you've got a few more things to say, but I also wanted to ask, can you talk a little bit about the process that you went through? You did a lot of drawing, a lot of experimental mark making.
Yeah. What I needed to do to begin with was to just listen to the music and try to make marks with pens or a brush and ink, to really sort of try with a brush to maybe express the sound that I was hearing. And so I did that using a brush. But the thing that I found really difficult was with a pencil or a pen, or a brush, trying to get the look of the sound of lightning, really difficult. So then I went and collected some Banksia flowers that had just died off a bit and were dried. And so I found that dipping them in ink and squiggling on paper, I really got this wonderful sort of design that happened, that there is no way I could have drawn it, absolutely impossible. And so I've tried on the substrate to actually get that shape using the Banksia pod in the wet thinset, and then to put some pieces into the design. And the pieces that I used for that were the green peridot. It's a semi-precious stone that I think that'll get some of that movement. But yeah, it was really a lot of drawing and rejecting and drawing and rejecting and trying various things. And I found it really difficult to get those sort of explosive sounds with a brush. Really, really difficult. But anyway, I think once I started doing the mosaic, and the substrate I made from layers of mesh, and then elevated it, probably it's about 2 centimeters above the actual substrate. The mesh substrate is about 2 centimeters above that, and then started mosaicing it directly into that shape. And the shapes actually were derived from large pieces of bark that had fallen off eucalypt trees just in the garden, and they are just the most wonderful shapes. And so I sort of rearranged them just a little, but sort of to get that flow and movement. Now, within this series, there's going to be about 4 or 5 pieces to this series. I'm planning different sorts of looks for that, but within it, I want to have the sound of that chant flowing through it. So I could be here for another 10 years trying to achieve this.
And you've also branched out into sculpture.
Oh, yes,
yeah, and then there's a piece that you're going to be working on this coming weekend with it, which is a sculptural form that you've made, which is similar. So it's, again, so interesting to see the development and how you've explored the idea from an initial inspiration of the music to initial drawing, and then found that limiting, and then using found objects that were related to the subject matter to make marks, and then to move away from traditional tesserae into gems and semi-precious stones and
rock. I mean, the main part of that is serpentine rock that comes from Tasmania, actually, from near Xi'an, I think. I bought it from a place in called Lunaris Gemstones, and they sent me this fabulous array of serpentine in a variety of ranges of green, from really dark to really light green with a lot of sort of creamy goldy look through it, with a bit of purple through it as well. It's the most wonderful rock. It really is just gorgeous. And I would love to say I went and collected it all myself, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But that would be good.
The range of colours as well is interesting. I also saw a lot of mookaite. Is it?
There is mookaite, yes. That's sort of in the elevated pieces, sharp elevated pieces. Sharp. I seem to specialise in sharp. Within that mookaite also, within those elevated areas, I've also got some dalle de verre fragments that sort of provide a bit of a contrast between the solid look of mookaite and the transparent look of glass. So I like that sort of combination. And then through smaller pieces of amethyst and what else have I got? Carnelian, some smalty that are sort of cut into smaller pieces, and also some of the bronze gold smalty that are in there as well. So it's a combination of colors. And I'm not too sure. I think probably the next pieces are certainly not going to be in the same sort of color, green color. I will vary sort of each piece, I think, but they all have to relate to each other. I don't want them as sort of, standout individual bits. There needs to be a continuation, because I want a continuation of that chant to flow through as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so lovely the way you put it together with the music, and it's given us a real insight into the development of your idea and the development of the piece, and we look forward to seeing the rest of the series as they evolve.
So do I.